Hello there, I'm Jana Mohammad Zaki and you're watching Nightline. The headlines. Ramli Mohammad Noor of Barisan Nasional wins Cameron Highlands by-election. And Finance Minister confirms announcement on ECRL project to be made next week. Barisan Nasional candidate Ramli Mohammad Noor has created history by becoming the first person from the Orang Asli community to be elected to the Dewan Rakyat. He won the Cameron Highlands by-election with 12,038 votes, beating Pakatan Harapan PH's M. Manugaran, who garnered 8,800 votes. Two independent candidates, Salehuddin Abdul Talib, got 314 votes and Wong Seng Yi 276 votes. This is Barisan Nasional's first win in a series of 5 by-elections since its historic loss in the 14th general election last year. The Election Commission EC announced that Ramli won by a majority of 3,238 votes, BN's best victory since 2018 when it won by a 3,117 vote majority. In 2013, its majority was 462, whereas in May 2018, MIC's C. Sivaraj, who represented BN, won by a 597 vote majority. The official results were announced by the Election Commission EC Returning Officer Dato' Ishak Mat Napis at the vote tallying centre in Dewan Gemilang of Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan Sultan Ahmad Shah. Earlier, for the first time, the EC also provided live poll coverage via Facebook Live, including the vote tallying and result announcement. Meanwhile, according to the EC, voter turnout on Saturday was at 68.79%, the highest so far for all the by-elections held after the 14th general election. The turnout was lower than the 79% recorded last year, but still higher than the other by-elections, whereby the Sungai Kandis state seat in Selangor only saw a 49.8% turnout, Sri Setia 44% and Balakong 43%, while in Negeri Sembilan, for the Port Dickson parliamentary seat by-election, it was 58.3%. Meanwhile, the Election Commission said the voting process was generally smooth, except for one minor incident in which the EC had told PH candidate M. Manugaran to leave the polling station at Sekolah Kebangsaan Senderot. It is because the candidate was wearing a shirt bearing the coalition's logo inside the polling station.
Telah diberitahu tentang perkara itu baru sebentar tadi. Saya rasa pihak pemantau pilihan raya perlu menegurnya sekiranya mereka bertemu dengan beliau, kerana di dalam kawasan 50 meter dari mana-mana pusat mengundi tiada orang yang dibenarkan untuk membawa material-material kempen, termasuklah lambang parti dan sebagainya.
Photographs of Manugaran wearing a white shirt with a Pakatan logo while inside a voting centre was posted on social media and was widely circulated. The PH candidate, however, has since apologised to all parties for donning the shirt, adding that it was not intended. An official announcement on the East Coast Rail Link ECRL project is expected to be made sometime next week. In announcing this on Saturday, Finance Minister Lim Guan Eng said that as far as the project was concerned, he was acting under the instruction of Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad and the Cabinet. The Finance Minister said this when responding to a statement by Economic Affairs Minister Datuk Sri Muhammad Azmin Ali earlier in the day that the Cabinet had in the Thursday meeting decided to cancel the ECRL project after concluding that the cost to develop the project was too high and the Malaysian government could not afford it now as the interest would come up to 500 million ringgit.
Dr. Sri Azmin was not in the last Cabinet meeting. So I'm acting under the instructions of Tun and the Cabinet. I think a statement will be issued next week.
So any decision on this project?
So a statement will be issued, if necessary, next week. Okay. As I said, I'm having under instructions from Tun. Satu lagi ialah berkaitan dengan sorry, I wouldn't say that Dasri Asmin wasn't in the cabinet meeting. What I meant was that he wasn't privy to the decision made by Tun.
He said this after launching the 37th World Customs Day in Kuala Lumpur on Saturday. Lim also said he was shocked with Dato' Sri Azmin's statement. The 688-kilometre project was expected to be completed in 2024 at a final cost of 81 billion ringgit. Cases of violence against women in the country are at a worrying level. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Azizah Wan Ismail said this was based on police statistics, which has shown an increase with a total of 4,963 cases of domestic violence involving women reported between January and November last year alone. Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Azizah, who is also the Women, Family and Community Development Minister, revealed the matter at the state-level Santuni Rakyat program at the Angsana Mall in Johor Bahru earlier on Saturday. She added the ministry, through the Women Development Department, would continue to organise special programs to address violence against women. However, all parties must also cooperate with the government to ensure the success of such programs aimed at enhancing public awareness on the social problem. This includes the Talian Kasih 15999 hotline initiative meant to help victims and third parties get the help, including for other social problems such as child abuse, domestic violence and teenage pregnancy, which are also on the rise.
Pada tahun 2018, sejumlah 651 permohonan bantuan telah diterima melalui talian ini yang membabitkan penderaan kanak-kanak dan keganasan rumah tangga.
In her speech, she also stressed that the government is concerned about the welfare of housewives, particularly the less fortunate, and have taken the necessary steps to ensure that their social security is taken care of. Up until December 31st, a total of 63,132 women nationwide had registered for the Suri Incentive or iSuri Voluntary Contribution Scheme, while 25,674 women who are not eligible for iSuri had registered for the iSaraan Voluntary Retirement Contribution Scheme. Heavy vehicles weighing 7,500 kilograms and above, including container and timber lorries, will be banned from using all roads during the Chinese New Year celebration early next month. The Road Transport Department, RTD, in a statement, said the total ban will take effect on February 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 9th and 10th. Other heavy vehicles in the category are lorries carrying construction materials such as cement, steel, gravel, sand, as well as soil, and other heavy vehicles such as crane, low loaders, heavy mobile machinery, including bulldozers and steamers. The ban for second category vehicles will be imposed from midnight until 6 a.m. in the same period. The second category involves container and cargo lorries transporting electronic or electrical goods or industrial materials are allowed to be on the road, as well as an empty container or cargo lorries on return trip. Meanwhile, the third category involved mobile cranes and cement mixer trucks will be prohibited from using the roads from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. with travel distance not more than 25 kilometers from the construction sites during the period. The Teluk Melano Sematan stretch of the Pan Borneo Highway, which was completed on January 4th, was officially opened to the public on Saturday. Works Minister Baru Bian reiterated that the federal government has agreed that there would be no toll collection for the highway either in Sarawak or Sabah.
Sesungguhnya, pembukaan jajaran Teluk Melano Sematan menzahirkan komitmen tidak berbelah bagi pihak kerajaan dalam menyediakan perkhidmatan pembangunan infra yang seimbang di semua negeri di Malaysia.
The Works Minister also encouraged more qualified Bumiputra contractors and vendors to join the tender for the works related to the project. The overall Pan-Borneo Highway project in Sarawak, spanning over a 33-kilometre land, is expected to be fully completed in June 2021. It involves the construction of 115 bridges, 25 elevated interchanges, 3 rest and service areas, and 6 laybys. Close to 30% of the 22.6 million foreign tourists who entered Malaysia last year were found to have overstayed in this country. Deputy Home Minister Datuk Muhammad Aziz said these tourists mainly enter the country using social visit passes and they are believed to still be in the country despite the expired passes.
Ya, ini di antara perkara juga yang kita ambil kira. Sebab itu saya sebutkan tadi, pihak immigration perlu melihat bukan saja dari segi aspek dokumen dia, tapi dari segi sudut keselamatan juga kita perlu ambil kira. Kita tidak mau orang-orang ini datang ke sini dengan membawa elemen-elemen yang boleh menjejaskan keselamatan negara kita.
He said other offences by foreign tourists included fraudulent student status, damaged passports and passports that were nearing their expiration date. According to Dato' Aziz, a total of 85,946 foreigners were served with the not to land NTL notice due to various reasons, including not having return tickets, no hotel accommodation, as well as having insufficient funds for their stay in the country. Indonesian citizens had the highest number of NTL notices with 43,870 people, followed by China and India at 12,853 and 8,119 people, respectively. An 84-year-old senior citizen was found dead, believed to have been hit with a pry bar during a robbery at his house in Kelantan. The incident took place at about 5 a.m. at Kampung Cap Rimau in Tanah Merah. The victim, known as Hamid Mat Saleh, was found in a pool of blood in front of his room with wounds to his left wrist and the back of his head.
Ikut jiran ni dia dikejutkan oleh inilah minta pertolongan, minta bantu dalam lebih kuranglah tu 5 pagi. Susulan pada tu jiran ni kejutkan anak dia yang call polis tu. Kita syaki mungkin lukanya disebabkan oleh hentakan daripada kuku kambing tersebut. Itu kita syak je lah. Walau macam mana pun kita akan buat siasatan lebih lanjut lagi.
The senior citizen sold some grocery items at his house and lived alone. Initial investigation found that nothing was missing from the house. Police are currently searching for the suspect who is still at large. And the case is investigated under Section 302 of the Penal Code for murder. In Kelantan, 3 people were killed while another person was seriously injured when the car they were travelling in skidded into a culvert near Lubuk Jong, Rantau Panjang early Saturday morning. The victims, who were in a Puro 2 Myvi, were headed to Pasir Mas when the accident occurred at 2:10 a.m. District Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Abdullah Muhammad Piah said all 3 died on the spot at Jalan Rantau Panjang, Pasir Mas. The dead have been identified as Muhammad Zainal Zainuddin, aged 33, Muhammad Zakaria Zainuddin, 22, and Muhammad Shadza Muhammad Saleh, 23. A 4th passenger, 22-year-old Muhammad Shakirim Hafizi Muhammad Shamsuddin, suffered severe injuries and was rushed to the University Science Malaysia Hospital for treatment. The driver, Muhammad Zainal, was believed to have lost control of the vehicle, which skidded to the road shoulder before plunging into the culvert. 7 firemen from the Pasir Mas Fire and Rescue Station were deployed to the scene and took 20 minutes to extricate the victims from the badly damaged vehicle. The case is being investigated under the Road Transport Act. In Selangor, 2 decomposed bodies without heads, arms and lower legs were found in a river near Desa Coalfields residential area on Saturday afternoon. Police believe the victims, an unidentified man and woman, were murdered about 2 weeks ago at another location before they were dumped at the scene. Also found nearby the crime scene were a plastic bag containing the victim's arms and legs. The bodies were taken to Sungai Buloh Hospital for post-mortem, and police had classified the case as a murder under Section 302 of the Penal Code. Still in Selangor, 8 Indonesian women who were employed as GROs were picked up by police for abusing their social visit passes in anti-vice operation at an entertainment outlet in Petaling Jaya early on Saturday. Police also detained 2 Bangladeshi men who also worked at the outlet. All 10 individuals held were taken to the Petaling Jaya Police Headquarters for further action. The case is being probed under the Customs Act and Immigration Act. Over in Sabah, the body of a teenager who was reported drowned while catching fish in Sungai Kampung Umpul, Kulambai, Kota Belud has been found. According to Sabah Malaysian Fire and Rescue Department, the body of 17-year-old Muhammad Lokman was recovered by villagers who joined the search and rescue operations at about 11:30 a.m. Saturday. The body of the victim has been handed over to the police for further action. Still in Sabah, more than 100 flood victims from more than 30 families have been evacuated at several villages in Kota Marudu. This follows a heavy downpour at the affected areas since Friday evening. Among the worst affected villages were Kampung Longgop, Belianjung, Mosolog, Maragantung, Salimandut, Damai, Parong, Popok Laut, Gurantung, Garada, Morion and Teritipan. Heavy rain is expected to continue at several areas in the state, including Tambunan, Ranau, Kota Belud, Tawau, Lahad Datu, Sandakan, Kudat and Kota Marudu. We're going for a short break. Stay tuned for Nightline's new Campus on Camp segment. Details next. Welcome back. As what I've been told earlier this month, Nightline will be introducing 4 new segments, and one of them is Campus on Cam or COC. This segment will allow the public to send to us videos and details of any events that took place at kindergartens, schools or universities, and the Nightline team will process the details given and put it on air. Well, tonight is the first episode of the COC, and let's see what we have compiled for you. In Selangor, secondary school SMK Jalan Kebun held a retirement ceremony on January 4th as a proper send-off to its senior assistant, Madam Cik Nur Kasima Muhammad Noor. During the ceremony, Cik Noor was presented by gifts from each of the teachers, and she was also entertained with pottery and singing performances by the students. She then gave her farewell speech before bidding goodbye in a symbolic procession. Cik Noor has been teaching for 30 years at 4 schools, namely SMK Seri Ampangan, SMK Rantau Panjang Kelantan, SM Convent Klang and SMK Jalan Kebun. Also in SMK Jalan Kebun, a group of students known as the Icebreaker has come up with a brilliant idea to solve the shortage of science lab chairs issue. The group, with the help from a lecturer from the University of Malaya, took initiative to produce their own DIY chairs by using recycled products. The chairs were made from cardboards, plastic bottles and used banners, which cost only 5 ringgit for each chair compared to actual science lab chairs, which cost around 80 ringgit. The project also caught the attention of Selangor Education Department Director Muhammad Saleh Muhammad Kasim, who praised the school's effort. Still in Selangor, primary school SK Kampung Jawa held its cross-country tournament on January 12th. Organised by the school's co-curriculum unit, around 250 students participate in the event that started at 7 a.m. until 11 a.m. The tournament consisted 6 categories, and the winners will be representing the school in the district-level competition. Astronauts, physicists, doctors, engineers, lawyers, and all the other professions that make the world go around have one thing in common: a good teacher who gave light to their dreams. You taught not just what ought to be taught, but also what you thought we needed to learn. These are only some of the quotes that best refer to teachers or educators who sacrifice their time to give their best to the students. And it will come to a point where teachers bid farewell and retire. For one Azni alias, years of sacrificing and putting his students first finally came to an end on Friday. He bid farewell to his colleagues and his beloved students in a sad send-off. Around 400 people, led SMK Taman Tasik's principal, Lieutenant Colonel Syed Nasir Said Mahadi, attended the ceremony. Wan Azni was entertained with several performances, including war dances by the students. Wan Azni has been teaching for 39 years and spent 24 years offering his service to Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan Taman Tasik Taiping in Perak. He lifted the school to be one of the best daily schools in Malaysia, especially in what he knows best, the Reka Cipta subject. He was also active in Cadet Remaja Sekolah and was the backbone behind the success story of the uniform body at the school. When we return, Brazil dam disaster death toll rises to 9, while hundreds still unaccounted for. Stay with us. In Brazil, rescuers worked overnight into Saturday searching for around 300 people missing after a dam owned by mining giant Vale collapsed in the southeastern state of Minas Gerais. So far, at least 9 bodies have been retrieved. The dam, designed to hold back mining waste, collapsed at around 1 p.m. on Friday in Brumadinho municipality and caused a mudslide, which destroyed Vale's offices and a residential area. Firefighters said up to 150 of those missing were employees of an administrator's office for the mining company, which were closest to the dam break. The cause of the collapse is still under investigation. The dam collapse comes less than 4 years after Brazil's worst environmental disaster was caused by the failure of a tailings dam at Mariana in the same state. US President Donald Trump has signed legislation on Friday to temporarily end the longest ever partial shutdown of the US government, which has left hundreds of thousands of federal employees without pay for more than a month. The decision marked a significant climb down by the president as he failed to secure the $5.7 billion he had demanded from Congress for a border wall. The 3-week spending deal reached with congressional leaders quickly passed by the Republican-led Senate and the Democratic-controlled House of Representatives without opposition. Trump, however, warned to declare a national emergency if a deal for wall funding is not reached before the next deadline to fund the government. The U.S. economy lost at least $6 billion during the partial shutdown of the federal government due to lost productivity from furlough workers and economic activity lost to outside business. The English FA Cup, Arsenal humiliated at their home ground. Stay tuned. sports, football, the English FA Cup. Manchester United continued their winning streak as they thrashed Arsenal 3-1 to advance to the fifth round on Saturday. Alexis Sanchez opened the scoring against his former side in the 30th minute as he slotted the ball home after rounding off goalkeeper Peter Cech. Jesse Lingard then doubled United's lead just 2 minutes later with a calm and composed finish, before Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang pulled a one-back for Unai Emery's side to bring the score at 2-1. Any hope of comeback from the Gunners was then diminished when Anthony Martial added the third in the 82nd minute for a 3-1 victory. That sports item wraps up Nightline this time.